Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Barcast TV and to another episode of Barcast Daily. It is June 27th, 2023, and we have a game taken from the Week 3 Season 1 of Bar Leagues between Goopy and Daywalker. So, without further ado, let's get into the replay. Spawning on the left side of the map, playing as the red pieces, it's Daywalker. And his opponent, spawning on the right side, playing as the blue pieces, Goopy. So I believe this is Daywalker's home map. So we have yet another game on Comet Catcher. So I'm sure all of you are very familiar with this map, the ins and outs. And I'm excited about this game. Just a little bit of a spoiler. I'm sure you can tell by the length of the video that this is a little bit of a longer match. So really looking forward to seeing some high-level plays, some Tech 2 perhaps. We'll have to take a look together and see actually how these players go about their business here on Comet Catcher and enjoy the content. So thank you all. And just want to say, trying to get to 1,000 subs. So if y'all want to hit that like button or subscribe button, I love you. Thank you. And appreciate y'all for watching me as I grow the channel. So thank you for that. So I just had a little bit of a comment the other day about kind of moving. Well, I've had a few comments about like moving the camera in and out a little too quickly. And I'll try my best to kind of not zoom in and out so rapidly and maybe do a little more panning or just like clicking around the map. Let me know if you guys would like to see maybe more like clicking around the map through the mini map instead of like zooming out and, you know, zooming back in. So actually I don't even use this tab too often. Anyways, let's take a look at this game here. So neither player chose to go for a LLT here at the start. We see the classic triple max start with a little bit of a walk with our commander. And both players kind of foregoing this early LLT you see a lot of the times. And something, I mean, I love to see how this game is constantly evolving. And players are feeling confident or good enough, I suppose, to feel it's a little unnecessary. Perhaps both players know neither one wants to play like armed ticks, or I'm really not sure what their thought process is. But yeah, I like to see the greed. I like to see the game evolving. We see Daywalkers going for a lot of early scouts here, just trying to protect these mexes, using units over LLTs. I mean, go figure. Using units to defend yourself and not LLTs. I mean, what is the world coming to? So this is really interesting. We see both players going for these one construction vehicle and just a lot of scouts. I actually haven't seen this many scouts. Haven't seen this, but this is a lot. I mean, what is this? We have 7, 8, 9. I mean, does he have more queued up? No, it looks like we have the one construction vehicle, 5 incisors, 1 scout on repeat out of this factory from Goopy, and he's just assisting that with his commander. He's got another construction vehicle coming out of the factory floor, looking to expand, and this is a very similar build orders from either player. Looks like Daywalker's finally adding on that LLT at the back of the base. And sorry, I missed that. Goopy took a nice little trade here in the middle, took out a lot of the scouts of his opponent. Meanwhile, Daywalker snuck in the base, found a little bit of 2 mech kills there. Actually, that's really powerful at this point in the game, and I wonder if Goopy can actually sneak through that with his commander. That would be unfortunate if he has to walk all the way around his factory to rebuild those mexes. Meanwhile, on Daywalker's side of the map, Goopy's diving in with these scouts here, trying to get rid of this construction vehicle, but Daywalker kind of sensing they need to have these quick units on the field, went ahead and remade a lot of these scouts. So really good job defending himself against the aggression of his opponent. And I think that's really going to kind of end this early unit harassment from either player. So we're going to be moving into this incisor phase of the game. We're going to be moving into the, I don't want to say it's like a it's like a knife fight or something like that. I read that the other day. It seems to be a pretty good description. A lot of these higher level players, especially Goopy, are really strong at grouping up their incisors or their blitzes together and making these really punctuated attacks, these very swift, very high mass attacks on concentrated areas. And it can be hard to defend if you don't have great radar coverage, if you don't have your units in the proper position. You can get so much damage done with these units. I mean, as we all know, the economy is so weak in this game. You can get a lot of damage very quickly just by being kind of in between your opponent's army and his eco. So it looks like Daywalker's finally adding on a radar here in the center of the map. And that's going to give him a lot of vision here to his opponent's movements. And I'm not sure, did Goopy see these units kind of rotating on the right side? We're going to take a look at his player view for a second. Perhaps even the player camera. We can get a sense of how Goopy likes to control. It's a shame you actually can't see what control groups he has, if any. I'd be curious to know. Curious to know if he's actually using control groups. Yeah, so he had a sense of these units were moving on the right side and has got some units in position to kind of defend against this. So great catch. And is he going to be able to actually cut off these incisors here? He's kind of moving past them. Catches one. Is the other one going to go down? Yeah, so great catch. Daywalker sneaks out with these 2 scouts, but those are going to get chased down by Goopy's own scouts. So not long for the world. We see on the top left-hand side of the map, we have one lone scout. It's going to get taken out by this LLT, so not long for the world. And this is going to let this construction vehicle continue to add on, continue to expand, unimpeded by his opponent. So where are we at here? Let's take a look at the statistics here. Oh, very close on metal produced. Just a 400 metal difference here. Not the biggest, not the end of the world. It's about like 3 tanks here. Daywalker continuing to stay in the main base with his commander. Same for Goopy here. So just using that additional build power. I love this line of solar collectors we have queued up. I mean, who cares about SimCity? I need to get things done. So I'm just going to drag a bunch of solar collectors across the map and call it good. Meanwhile, another scout finding its way across the map, getting damage done. I saw Goopy tried to trigger the self-destruct on this mech to kind of kill that scout. Didn't get it off in time. It was destroyed before it was able to self-destruct. So nice little technique. For those of you who don't know, you can kind of detonate these. You can detonate LETs or Control D and take out a lot of these harassing units as they move about. So it's definitely a kind of double-edged sword. We see another mech going down from another Goopy mechs going down. 2 Daywalkers, little run-bys here. Great damage. I mean, continuing to get value with these low-mass units over the course of the game is really the hallmark of these higher-level players. And Daywalkers expand. I really like this expansion style. I mean, if you've seen your opponents in the bottom right, I mean, expand top left, right? I mean, put some distance in between you and your opponent. Make it more difficult to raid, more difficult to harass and attack. And just as I say that, we see Goopy snuck 6 tanks here in the back line. Daywalker is trying to get into position to defend against this. We'll see how much damage is going to get done, but Daywalker stepped out of the position and Goopy's found another opportunity here. So moving more units onto his side of the map. He's going to try and keep track of both of this at the same time. We have this trade going on in the back. Looks like Goopy Control D these tanks. And on the front line here, Goopy's taking out a Max, taking out a LLT. Is he going to get this construction vehicle? That would be a nice pickup for his troubles here. It's going down, so close to going down. 3% goes down, so nice catch there. We see this a lot of construction vehicles out here for Daywalker. So we have one on the top side, one in mid. Going to add on that Max and a couple more LLTs. And Daywalker tried to have this little cheeky forward aggressive construction bot get up this LLT in time so we can start capping the mexes in this area, but it's going to get found out by the scouts of Goopy, and it's going to get taken out. So really nice catch. I think we should take a look at these player views again. Gonna check out Daywalker, see this first-person perspective here. He's already got a construction turret up, adding on a lot more solar collectors. And is still in the main base with his commander here, so really interesting to see this style. You can see Daywalker's kind of getting in position to deflect this attack. We have a lot of tanks here from Goopy moving forward, so he's going to take a fight here. Chooses the better of it, backs off. You can't run into like an even number of tanks and 3 LOTs. That's not going to go well for you. Let's take a look at Goopy's player view and camera here. Very even game so far, so really just trying to secure this quadrant of the map, moving into the center here, continuing to add on radars, LLTs, and mexes, as we see in this map. And doesn't quite detonate the... Oh, that was a nice catch. He's going to get that reclaim off. So we saw there, yeah, he was able to control D that mex there, take out 2 of those 3 scouts, heavily injure the other one, and was able to reclaim the that damaged scout to kind of finish the job. So that was a nice little catch. Probably would have lost that construction vehicle if he didn't make that little move there. So These pros showing us the way how you get this done. I saw an exploiter here. Let's move off this player view, actually. Excuse me. And we see that Daywalker's making a little push here in the bottom left, but there's one exploiter, one almost finished, just a couple seconds away, and that should be enough to defend this area against these incisors. A lot of these are kind of badly damaged here, so take a look and see how quickly these get cleaned up. These incisors are so good, or excuse me, exploiters, so good. And we see it forces Daywalker to retreat, so where is this game at? We're taking a look around here. We see Goopy's moving 4 tanks on the top side of the map. He's got a lot of construction, a lot of build power here in the center. So 3 construction vehicles rather. Continuing to add on radars and LLTs, and Daywalker doing a good job of kind of deflecting this little counter push here, protecting this expanding construction vehicle as he moves along the left side of the map towards the bottom. And a little bit of a scuffle here on the mid side. So another little group of incisors kind of poking around, trying to find damage. Delaying these expansions, just kind of forcing Daywalker to retreat this construction vehicle. I'm sure he had intentions to kind of add on some more mexes here. And I mean, how does this man find damage? This guy is gonna get reclaimed. So not the couldn't get the mex he was kind of looking for, but I really like this play here. Look at this radar, 2 LLTs, and an exploiter here, just holding down this fort. This is actually a really vulnerable lane on this map. Your opponent can kind of swoop through here, get behind your main base, so you really want to defend this little choke point. I'm not sure what to call it. There's a little crater there and this little high ground, larger crater. So see both players using these exploders. Perhaps these are moving into fashion. Daywalker adding on a lot of static defense up here on this top lane here, trying to defend against these run bys. And you know, as the game moves on, these I mean, it's a very wide map, so things become very vulnerable to really high concentrated attacks, and like kind of these lanes here, it could be very difficult to defend these while you're kind of busy microing in the center of the board. And it looks like Goopy has got some of these brute medium tanks out, so he's going to be kind of shaving off exploiters, looking for damage, and we're entering that part of the mid game here where you really need to get these medium tanks out. I mean, your grunts aren't going to do you so well. These incisors have kind of lost their value. I mean, they're very quick about moving the map, but as Comet Catcher gets locked down with these LLTs, exploiters, and whatnot, you really need some heavier units to kind of contest the battlefield, have that staying power. And one exploiter, is it going to be able to take on 4 incisors? I mean, this is kind of going to show you the power of this unit. It takes out 2 before going down, and that's going to give Goopy time to move in with his own incisors to protect that construction vehicle. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, tanks versus tanks. Goopy shaving off 1 construction vehicle there. Really nice catch. He's got a couple more here to kind of replace that build power, so not the end of the world. And still, this tank battle is starting to form here. And this is the point in the game also where we start getting really large reclaim fields. So you got to be cognizant of where this mass is, how much of it you're donating to your opponent, and are you giving them the opportunity to res a lot of units on their side to kind of give them a free army, or like an energy-based army, for instance. So really got to be careful about how you're attacking and what your goal is with that. So we see this reclaim is going to get sucked up by these 3 construction vehicles. Daywalker doesn't want to give his opponent any opportunity to kind of get that reclaim for himself. And there's a lot of build power here in the middle of the board. So what is this factory build queue looks like? So we've got 6 medium tanks, 1 scout, and 1 construction bot on repeat coming out of the factory. Looks like Goopy's got a little bit of a standing army advantage. He's down on mass, but not by much. Very even game so far. We see like how much build power both players have in the middle, and actually I really like this. We see Goopy's made 2 of these construction turrets in the middle. That's going to let him repair these turrets, get some reclaim if so happens to fall in the area, and of course give him the extra build power to add on even more static defense if he chooses to. Goopy's pressing into the middle here. Not the best trade. He's walking into a couple exploiters and LLTs, and that's just going to give Daywalker the mass here. And he's got 4 construction vehicles already in position, just gobbling up this mass as fast as he can. And he's actually floating mass. He got 2.5k mass in the bank. I'd like to see a metal storage here to kind of give him a chance to absorb this mass into his economy. Can't spend it quick enough, so I see he's queued up another land factory here on the board. Let's take a look at Goopy's main base. Looks like he salvaged his... Excuse me, he relocated his vehicle plant to the middle of the board. He's adding on a bot lab here. He's making grunts and grave robbers, it looks like, on repeat, one apiece, and has added on an aircraft plant. So we'll have to see, is he going to be making shurikens out of this? Is he going to be making bombers? Don't really like bombers so much on these maps. There's not really vulnerable targets apart from your opponent's construction turrets. These solar collectors are pretty tanky against, and I'm not sure like how many bombers it actually takes to kill a construction turret, but we see Goopy's got a little bit of a standing army advantage. You have 24 tanks versus 17. So, but you really can't like attack into your opponent's static defense. It's just kind of like giving them the advantage in that point. And we see Daywalker's kind of sneaking through the bottom of the map. He's incisors in tow trying to chase these down, but he's kind of gotten in between the army and the eco here. So he's going to get a little bit of damage done. Probably one more mechs might go down. Maybe two. I think that's going to get taken out. And let's take a look in the middle over here. Daywalker is stepping forward with his tank army here. That is a lot of tanks. Really queued together. And it looks like these shurikens are actually moving into position here. So we finally see some of these fielded onto the battlefield. They're kind of walking into their death here. Don't think this is the trade you want to take, Goopy. There's a lot of static defense here. He's got a lot of tanks kind of concentrated on this top left flank. He's going to get one of those exploiters kind of moving around and rotating around this like huge massive brutes here. I'm not sure like this is really what you want to stay where you want to stay and fight at. So Goopy is continuing to shave off a lot of these units here. Is he going to end up pulling back here? Don't think so. Continuing to press forward. Not sure if I agree with this trade here. Seems to be getting the better end of it. We got a couple pounders here in the back doing a little bit of AoE damage. Not sure like how effective these are against medium tanks, but can see they have a little bit of a staying power. Really slow units actually. So, but I mean, here's the negative. I mean, look, like there's 4 construction vehicles here. I mean, already like reclaiming all this mass here. So Goopy really feels compelled to kind of push his opponent off of this position here. He's moving in shurikens, moving in grunts. What is even happening right now? Who has an advantage? I'm not sure. He has some missile trucks rolling up from behind, adding what DPS they can to the battle. Grave robbers just behind the line, rezzing units as this battle continues here. And I want to say, Daywalker's coming out on top. We see a lot of these, a lot of the army kind of thinning out for Goopy here. So he's switched into reclaim, trying to gobble up this mass as quickly as he can before his opponent can get to it. And that's going to trigger, we see Daywalker is adding on some of these anti-air turrets. He has 2 vehicle plants, 1 metal storage, so he was able to kind of get that onto the battlefield here. And should be seeing a lot of medium tanks coming out. This is so much build power. And I kind of like this style of like 2 vehicle plants instead of the kind of like diversifying. It's like some kind of like 1-1-1. So more shurikens on repeat coming out of the factory. I set on low priority. I like to kind of see that. We see this vehicle plant is also on low priority. So interesting. Kind of have to like manually adjust this to, you know, get units where you think they need to be. And look how many exploiters are on the battlefield here. So Goopy trying to kind of deal with his opponent expanding onto his side of the map. You see a lot of medium tanks moving forward into the battlefield. Goopy pulling back these pounders to his static defense. That's gonna give him an opportunity to kind of consolidate his army. And we see more shurikens coming in, trying to slow down this army. Those missile trucks in the back are gonna shoo away these units. And Goopy needs to find damage elsewhere. And he's found these isolated tanks here. So, I mean, I've never seen grunts take out take out medium tanks. Well, perhaps we'll see it. There's a lot of HP to kind of burn through here, so I'm not sure if these grunts are going to be able to take out all these medium tanks in time before they end up going down. We'll have to try to take a look, keep an eye on that on the mini map. So meanwhile, in the middle, you see so many medium tanks, 31 tanks against about 15 and 3 pounders here. So Daywalker's fielding a really large army here in the center and just continuing to add on more and more tanks, trying to spend that mass as fast as he can. He's moved on to a T2 vehicle plant here. And he's got some Tigers already kind of trickling out onto the battlefield. We have more missile trucks trying to come out, so I really like this unit composition here. And it looks like on the bottom of the map, these units are all taken care of, and this Resbot army is going to do what they can to kind of get all these tanks back into the army of Goopy. So really nice catch. Even though he's kind of losing this kind of center position, we can still, he's trying to make plays on the other parts of the board. And we see these Tigers, yeah, have made their way to the front line here. So Goopy needs to move on to T2 here. We'll see, like, does he have one of those factories queued up? He's moving into some kind of bomber production and has got a little bit of a fighter screen being built up here, but his opponent is totally neglecting air. I'm not sure if he is kind of anticipating some kind of attack, but I mean, how are you going to deal with these Tigers? There's 4 on the front line now. More should be streaming across the map. I'd like to see some advanced construction vehicles to kind of upgrade to T2 mexes here. And Goopy's kind of snuck through the front line, so he's got some medium tanks kind of breaching his opponent's front line. Daywalker is leaving his Tigers on the front here to try and pressure his opponent's mid. We see in the bottom left a little bit of a push distorted by these exploiters, and we have to know how much damage are these stats going to get done. So rolling into the main base, one of these Tigers is going to do what it can to kind of slow this down. We see 2 more kind of in tow, trying to run down these medium tanks before they get too much damage done. And that's going to give Goopy an opportunity to kind of, you know, reinforce this middle position, but I'm not sure what he can do. I mean, there's 4 Tigers, 3 Lashers here in the center. So much action, so much damage right now. We see, so here's this fighter screen coming out. We see a lot of these fighters kind of giving anti-air cover to these 8 bombers. So what is he going to be looking for here? What kind of damage? He's taking out a lot of solar collectors here. See a huge bombing run. So what is he targeting here? It takes out a decent amount of solar collectors. Not the most effective run. We'll see what he's going to get done with his second pass here. Just really targeting all these solar collectors, and they're very tanky, so not sure how much damage he's going to get done. There's a lot of anti-air here. See Thrashers and anti-air turrets doing what they can. I want to say these construction turrets would have been the better target here while you have your opponent by surprise, or even that metal storage. See Shurikens on the left side of the map really trying to deal with these medium tanks. Kind of swept through and cleared out a lot of that eco for Goopy, and we see like how much red is on the board here. Want to give the advantage to Daywalker. He's got T2 tanks on the field. He's got a lot of mass right on his doorstep, more mexes. He lost a little bit of his power, but he has a huge standing army, even more Tigers here. So 7 Tiger tanks. I'd like to see those Shurikens kind of step up and catch these. Well, they've moved away from the Lashers even more. So we're up to like 8 Tigers. What is it? 11 Tigers here right in the center of the board. That is going to do so much damage. Really push his opponent off of the center position here. So Goopy continuing to add on grunts here in this point in the game. 22 minutes into the game. He's got a lot of res bots, a lot of grunts here. I'm not sure like what his intentions is with that. See Daywalker's splitting off a group of medium tanks, trying to finally like kind of clear out this expansion here from Goopy on the bottom mid side of the board. Doesn't want to give his opponent the opportunity to kind of flank his back lines here. And yeah, so Daywalker is kind of methodically, slowly grinding out his opponent, trying to get control of this middle part of the board, and that should secure him the victory. I mean, how do you stop this many tanks here? You see a little bit of a tank battle on the bottom side. I would like to see those Shurikens come and try and catch that, and here we go. Shuriken stepping up, trying to paralyze these Tigers, and this is a great catch here. I mean, these low-tech units are dealing with these high-mass Tiger tanks here, so a couple of them are going to go down, and we have Grave Robbers here to kind of pick up the pieces here. Really came as much of this mass as they can, and you see Daywalker's moving up his missile trucks, trying to protect his Tiger tanks here from these Shurikens, so just gonna kind of delay this push for a few seconds while he consolidates his army, gets his unit composition the way he wants it, and just more tanks all across the map. So I mean, while this battle is going on the middle, Goopy is forced to kind of deal with these 10 tanks kind of flanking on the bottom side, and he's got the shurikens to deal with it, so it's going to be a nice job catching these tanks. I mean, we just have a couple of anti-air turrets to kind of protect this. It's going to make Goopy retreat, but he shaved off a lot of those tanks and forced them to retreat, and these Tigers have breached the mid, so taking out that build power, taking out the position, clearing out all the LLTs and static defense, and Goopy finally adding on this advanced vehicle plant, but he has no metal, so he's stalling on mass right now. Take a look at these statistics, and yeah, Daywalker's up by 28k mass here. So I want to say the writing's on the wall. I mean, he's got some shurikens to kind of deal with these this tech advantage here, but Daywalker did a nice job adding in these missile trucks, so he's got 20 missile trucks to kind of defend himself against these shurikens. And there's really nothing to stop these Tiger tanks from kind of rolling forward, pushing into the main base. And just a matter of time, I want to say, Daywalker did a great job. I mean, look at how many exploders he's actually using to make on this map. That's really interesting to see. And I really want to know, like, where did this game go wrong? I mean, it was so even for so long, and I think it was that one push in the middle where he just donated all that mass. Daywalker was so on top of it, trying to kind of scoop up that mass after that battle, and that let him get not only to this T2 factory production, but was able to get this T2 factory out, and is kind of building so many construction turrets. Doesn't have the eco to kind of support that just yet. Still behind on E. Still behind on E compared to his opponent. That was from that bombing run from earlier. Goopy doing what he can. He's finally got finally has some of his own Tigers on the board now. So, but I mean, it's like too little, too late. Look at this huge T2 army. 13 Tigers, 22 Lashers, 2 Brutes, controlling the center of the board here, and just really grinding out the victory. I mean, the longer this goes on, the higher chance Daywalker has to win. Really just denying your opponent this eco. Denying them from getting back into the game. You see, we've got a couple of grave robbers here, not doing their work. 4 bulls trying to find these unprotected lashers. I'm not sure how well these lashers do against Tigers. I've never seen this interaction before. They go down very quickly. It's gonna force Daywalker to kind of retreat, pull back, and flank these Tigers. And that should be close to the game here. We see these grave robbers doing what they can, trying to get this mass here. See, a lot of these Tigers are getting stunned by the shurikens, but I mean, look how many lashers there are here. Can't move around this. Can't use your air and around this T2 army, right? So really just watching the death rolls of a game that just needs to be closed out. Goopy sensing defeat, moving his commander, looking for that honorable death. Wants to go down in battle here. Not assisting his factory. So he's cloaking his commander. He's gonna try and get some D-guns off. We'll see how well this goes. Draining a lot of energy in the process. Moving that commander while cloaked takes a lot of energy. And I want to say that priority kind of goes to that, perhaps. We'll see. He's got his commander. I just want to see what happens here. He's got more Tiger tanks kind of stepping forward. So many tanks here in the middle of the board, and Daywalker has just to move into position here. He's found the commander here, so a lot of DPS, 20% health. Ends up going down. So Goopy calls GG. Really nice game, guys. Pretty cool to see these high-level games on Comet Catcher and how to kind of navigate such a large map, so many positions, so many alleys, and of course so much mass to use and build up your economy. So hope you all like this cast. I'll be back soon with another one, and we've got some more interesting stuff coming down the pike for y'all. So stay tuned for more, and see you in the next cast. Thanks for watching.